Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's the weekly episode of At the Corner, and again, compliments of Chuck. We got another special episode for you guys. I'm your host, Zach. Chuck is here with me.
What's up, Zach?
Chuck, man, this one's you again. You get to introduce our guest again.
No, you can introduce him. I'm still recovering by being starstruck while I'm looking at it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Cleveland Guardians' fifth-round pick from the 2021 Major League Baseball draft with us for this episode. Tanner Bibee is here with us. Tanner's kind enough to offer his time. Tanner, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be on here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you making time, as always. We just sat down with Richie Palacios a couple days ago, and I always want to make sure I'm thanking you guys because it's a big deal. So, Tanner, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So, if you're ready, I'm going to walk you through some questions and help people get to know a little bit about who you are in the game of baseball and outside of the game of baseball.
Yeah, man. Fire away. Let's do it.
All right. So, early in your life, I don't know if you know this or not. I think Chuck may have told you. Your dad actually sat down with us for an episode.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Earlier this year.
I listened to it.
Yep. He was kind enough to sit down and talk with us. So, he talked about early on, it looked like you had an aptitude for playing the game of baseball. What was that like? When did you really realize that you had a passion for playing the sport?
I think early on, obviously, as anyone kind of starts, it was honestly just like a thing to have some fun, like meet some people, create some friendships. But I think when I first got into high school, is when I first kind of realized that I had a chance to play at the next level. I've always loved baseball. I think it's always loved pitching. But I think in high school, freshman, sophomore year, when I started at that time, it's big dogs. But once I started doing pitching well there, I was like, okay, I have a chance to play in college, and my dream is always to play in the major league. So that's kind of when I first started realizing that.
Okay. And when did it become apparent that you had a chance to be drafted and play professionally?
I think from middle to end of high school, I think I had a chance. When I got a couple calls from professional scouts, not anything super serious, but just kind of I was closer than I thought I was, and it was closer than I thought. So it was kind of pretty apparent that when they started calling me, I was like, okay, this could actually be a very realistic thing. And it kind of obviously kept growing more and more when I was at Cal State Fullerton.
So did you garner any interest straight out of high school, or did it really come once you had gone to Cal State Fullerton?
I garnered some, not a lot. I think my intention was to go to Cal State Fullerton the whole time, unless I got some offer that kind of blew me out of the water a little bit. I think ever since, it was the beginning of my senior year, I think I was like, I kind of just want to go to college. I think it'd be a good thing. Kind of wanted to get a degree, and I think I've made the right decision so far. So let's hope it keeps going that way.
Heck yeah, man. Well, you're definitely trending in the right direction. So did you always know that you wanted to pitch, or did you experiment with different positions? Did you get kind of ushered into being a pitcher? How did that come
my dad was a pitcher when he was younger, and he definitely told you guys that he was drafted and all that.
Yep. The draft worked a lot different back then.
He was drafted by Seattle.
Yeah, in '88. He always tells people that he was drafted in front of Piazza. So, and
we were floored by that.
Yeah.
We found out.
Neither of us had any idea.
We found out live when he said to us that your dad got drafted. We didn't have a clue. And I texted Zach a screenshot as he was talking to us. Your dad's draft information. And it was incredible. It was the coolest.
Yep. He was drafted in front of Mike Piazza
and Dion Sanders.
Crazy.
And Dion Sanders.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a hell of a story. So obviously there's some natural gravitation there with your dad having pitched. When did you know that that's what you wanted? That's the position you wanted to kind of hone
I always
in
kind of
on?
liked pitching just because it was baseball is kind of the only thing where you took control of what was going on mostly. Baseball is the only game where the defense has the ball, and I've always kind of liked it's a team atmosphere, but a lot of it's kind of on you. The pitcher's kind of like the quarterback, where it's it's a team sport, but a lot of the blame or a lot of the praise could go on the pitcher. And I kind of just like having that control of the game while it also having a very team aspect to it. And like I hit in high school a little bit, but like it wasn't really anything out of the water. So pitching was always kind of my thing. And I enjoy it. I love it. It's so great.
Heck yeah. So your dad told us in his interview that he did with us, he said that your development really hit its stride when you were at Cal State Fullerton.
Yep.
What can you attribute that to? Was it the atmosphere? I'm certain you had great coaches. What would you say kind of really helped you hit your stride?
I think honestly it was more of the mental side of it, kind of like the humbleness to it, because obviously like high school, I kind like a lot of the guys from around this area, like you expect to do really good, you expect to throw up zeros every single time, but when you get into college, it was kind of like a wake up call, like, hey, you're like, yeah, you're good, but just your talent's not going to get you to where you want to be. And I think it was a needed wake up call in college, and just kind of the mental side of kind of battling through that for 4 years, I think was very needed to help me make the jump to professional. I think that if I went straight out of high school, I think it would have been, I don't know how different it would be, but I think it would just taken longer for me to get to this point.
I'm certain you can attribute that to good coaches. Chuck, floor's yours, man.
Tanner, I was floored by a stat I read about you just now, a few minutes ago. This entire season, you walked 27 batters.
Okay.
It feels like you roll out of bed and just throw strikes. Was that always the case with you in high school, or and even like even younger than that? Did you always throw strikes? Always?
Yeah. So I didn't really like hit like a growth spurt until like middle of high school. So my dad was always telling me like, hey, like learn to pitch now, and you could figure out like how to pitch batters, how to like read swings and stuff like that. And then once you learn that, and then once you like hit puberty and hit your growth spurt, then that's when like all your strength's gonna come. And that's when just kind of like the
27 batters in one season is nuts. That's literally you rolling out of bed and just throwing strikes anytime.
Chuck, you have to pair that with people who may not know the fact that for those 27 batters between both levels this year, he struck out 126. That is a strikeout to walk ratio that is absolutely bonkers. That leads me to a good question. So you're obviously a high strikeout pitcher. Your velocity has come along, especially in the last year. Do you see yourself? Do you want to be a strikeout heavy pitcher? Like, is that your mentality? You want to go up and make hitters look foolish? I mean, obviously it's one of your strengths. The proof is right there. But what is your mentality with that? Being able to command your pitches the way that you do. How do you approach attacking hitters?
So I think that obviously every pitcher, especially nowadays, I think wants to strike people out. I think that will eventually lead to more success, whether you're talking about like analytically or you're talking just baseball in general. Like there's less room for the unpredictable when you strike someone out. But honestly, like as long as I'm getting outs, I really don't care. And I think the strikeouts are definitely a good thing to have. It's very feel good, because I think a strikeout is a very dominating thing to do. I think I don't know whatever gets me to the major leagues and gets me success there. Like I really don't care what happens. I could be Zach Greinke. I could be other spectrum Jacob deGrom. And honestly, if I have success there on either spectrum, it does not matter to me.
So,
Awesome.
So Tanner, your velocity, your velo has really spiked over the years. I think when you were drafted, you were sitting at around 94, and now you're basically at 97, 98 sitting. And I think you definitely touched 100 a few times this season as well. How does that come about? Within a year, you pretty much jumped. You pretty much added almost 6 miles an hour to your fastball. within 1 year.
Yeah. What are some things that you've done to manufacture that velocity?
Yeah.
I think that just comes with the coordinators and coaches that we've been in Arizona. Obviously, when I got drafted, most of the guys, we didn't get sent out at all. We kind of stayed in Arizona, kind of worked on some stuff. I think like working on how to move correctly, working on how to like fix the pitch profiles. I think were two things that really helped me a lot. I think obviously training the right stuff in the weight room. I think all those stuff kind of attributed to it, and I think once all that stuff kind of clicked and kind of paired together, I think it might have just taken off. I always knew it's been in there. I just didn't know really how to get there so much until I spent a couple months in this org. So
now the follow up on that, your draft class has been insane this year. Like,
yeah,
to put it lightly.
yeah,
Gavin Williams,
yeah,
your roommate Doug Nikhazy, Ryan Webb came along
yeah.
towards the end of this year, and we were all, he had a bit of an injury coming out of the draft, and he had a tremendous season. And then we're at you at round 5. What has it been like? Having success with your peers throughout different levels. What has that been like? And is there like a competition between you guys? Do you guys bring the best out of each other? What has that been like for you?
I mean, yeah, it's been sweet. I mean, I don't know if a lot of the other orgs, I know the Angels that same year drafted like 20 pitchers, something like that, but then we drafted like 19 pitchers. And,
yeah, 19.
And
19.
19, and
19.
yeah, and it was honestly, I couldn't imagine like not having that many pitchers there because there's so many people. Like, there's a ton of people from the West Coast that we drafted, but there's also a ton of people from the East Coast, SEC, that kind of stuff. And It's really interesting to see like thought processes, how to get people.
Tommy Mace, Jack Leftwich, Will Dion. It goes on and on.
And all those guys. It's super great. Like, obviously, when I was in Lake County with like Gavin, Doug, all those guys, it was we'd always have like some healthy competition, kind of like talking shop in the dugout, and same thing in Akron when it was like me, Gavin, Cantillo, Burns, all the rest of those guys. Sorry if I forgot your name, but but it's just super fun to like see different.
Logan Allen.
Yeah, I didn't play with Logan Allen, but but just different perspectives is just super interesting, and seeing how people pitch hitters, seeing how people like read hitters, seeing like thought process and like pitch sequence in whatever counts, and it's super interesting, and it's been super fun because all those guys are great. I mean, a good majority of the pitchers in that class did really well, and even Fox and Cox and Fascia and Seth, and like all those guys have been like a good majority of our draft class has done really well this year. So it's been really fun to watch everyone. Every day, it's just like, oh, this guy threw 5 shutout innings, 10 Ks, and it's like, wow, that's not surprised.
Especially in the second half of the year, the whole draft class took off.
Yeah,
it really was so fun to watch. Now, to follow up on that, Tanner, the Cleveland Guardians have a really, especially in recent years, but we have a really great reputation when it comes to drafting and developing the pitching staff. There's been a lot of great pitchers that Corey Kluber not right now Shane Bieber, and Tristan McKenzie. It goes on and on. What have you learned? Like, are you just in awe of the development tricks that they teach you and stuff like that, in terms of the stuff that the staff and the talent development team teaches to their guys?
It's honestly really crazy because when you're in the midst of it, you don't really notice, because like once they start telling you all these things and start telling you like, oh, you like maybe it'd be a good idea to start doing this, and everything starts clicking, you don't realize like how like smart these guys in this organization really are. I mean, you see it from the DSL, low A, like all the way up to the big leagues. Like they're taking guys like Trevor Stephan off the Yankees, which is a good developmental program, and turning him into something crazy. And like he's really good.
He's one of the best right-hand relievers in all baseball.
Yeah, and it's and you don't even like, you get so used to it in this organization when when you're like, oh, they're taking another guy off waivers and making him a big leaguer and making him like a productive big leaguer, or making him productive at whatever level he's at and making him that much better. It's just like I wouldn't say it's like an awe. It's just like unbelievable, and just like when you're in the midst of it, you just don't really understand. Like, it doesn't really process like how often these guys are doing it.
Now now our farm system, at every level almost, from the Arizona League to the Summer League to Lake County to Low A, to Double A, Triple A,
all the way to Columbus.
It is. Might be the grit. This might be. I've been a fan all my life. I don't remember a time where our minor league system has been this talented. You look at everybody has different rankings out there, but Daniel Espino, phenomenal,
Dude, unreal,
incredible, absolutely out of
unreal,
this world.
dude. He's crazy. He's crazy.
He's
Then
insane.
you got George Samara, Bo Naylor, Brian Rocchio, Gavin Williams, and then it gets deeper. And then Logan Allen, Xavier Curry, Joey Cantillo. What is it like to be around such great young talent?
It's great because obviously when you're in the minor leagues, you're all trying to get to the same place, and it really doesn't feel like I wasn't sure coming into professional baseball how it was going to be with other people, and if it was going to be kind of like toxic or like people would kind of get like jealous. But I've really not encountered that at all. Honestly, it's been like guys helping guys, and I don't know if that's like that in other organizations, but in this organization, it's been like I've had a great time like getting to know these guys, getting into and just like cheering for them in the dugout. Like I get one start a week, and the rest of the days I'm like, hell yeah, I get to watch Tanner Burns throw. Hell yeah, I get to see Joey throw. Hell yeah, I get to see Doug, Gavin, like Tommy, like Davenport, like all these guys. I get to see them all. I get to see them all throw.
Davenport has a nasty curveball. That curveball, like, holy shit, that's a sick curveball.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just every day. It's just like God. Like I would hate to be in like the 6-game series you play against us. Like as a hitter, it just does not sound fun, and it's just crazy. It's fun to learn from these guys.
So your season
y'all all have stuff to share 100%. With each other.
So Tanner, you had a crazy year. I was screaming from the heavens to get you to Columbus. It didn't happen, but I thought you had a really good shot at it, especially towards the end of the year. So what has this year been like for you? It was your first professional season. You start out at Lake County, and now you basically finished almost at a full season in Double A. What was this year like for you personally?
It was fun. It was really fun. I mean, I knew I was always gonna like have a good year because you gotta have that confidence going in there. I think it was obviously I don't want to say like I exceeded anything. Like I didn't want to like be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and this, and kind of really just like set the bar super high. Just because I wanted to kind of be realistic, and I blew my goal out of the water really, and it was just fun because each level, I think you kind of had to figure. I feel like I was ahead of the curve with what I wanted to do, and I was really proactive about what I wanted to do. And I think that me being proactive, I think really helped me stay like one step ahead of the other team and everything like that. And also, I mean, the pitching coaches and the head coaches, I think really, I mean, they were great. I mean, Caleb Longshore, no one do, and DeCenzo and Rugi, I mean, they did nothing but help. And that's kind of they were one of the biggest contributors and helpers to me, whether it was like, hey, I feel like I'm doing this, and they would just dive right into video to try to help, and it was amazing.
All right, so Zach.
So let me ask you this. So let's rewind it just a little bit. Did you have any inkling that the Guardians might be interested in you? I mean, at the time they were the Indians, but did you have any hints that they might be interested in you? Had you had somebody come up to you and put a little bug in your ear, or were you completely blind?
No, so actually, back when I was graduating high school, the Indians they called me was it I had a couple, like a questionnaire. I talked to the area scout a couple times. And then in 2020, during the COVID year, I talked to them a little bit too. So they've been kind of interested in me throughout this entire process, and I think that it just kind of clicked in the last year in 21.
What was it like when you got the call?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I've been trying to get drafted for a long time, and after 2020, it was rough. I was obviously not happy. Yeah. I mean, I was happy to go back to Fullerton, and it ended up working out, got my degree and stuff like that. But I mean, in the moment, I was like, oh my God, like world is ending, sky is falling. But I mean, it ended up being good. Ended up being probably beneficial for me to do that.
Absolutely, but you never know that until you get there. It's always, you're blind going forward until you look back and see the trail that you paved. So how would you, obviously, so like the Guardians are known for developing pitching. Have they worked on anything with you? Mechanics changes? Actually, let me make it a little more specific. What is something that immediately the coaching staff started working with?
There was two things. I was kind of had my two main goals, like I would say, like pitch profile wise. They wanted to get more ride of my fastball, which I worked on all year, and they wanted to separate my slider from my curveball because they kind of were kind of blendy when I came in. And mechanically, it was just moving more efficient, doing the right kind of things. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I think the two main things were the fastball riding and the slider kind of firming it up and moving it away from the curveball, pretty much, like shape-wise.
Did you always have
That's awesome.
Did you always have a 4-pitch mix, Tanner? What do you at? Your fastball, changeup, slider, curveball, right?
Curveball.
Yeah.
Did you always have that mix in college?
My first 2 years I didn't. Right. My last 2 years I did. I was in high school. I threw 4. I really only threw fastball, slider, curveball, and then in my first 2 years of college, I was fastball, slider, changeup, and then my last 2, I added the curveball back in.
Wow, that's incredible. So,
what would you say? I'll go ahead.
I was going to follow up. What would you say is your? I don't want to say best. What is your secondary offering that you feel most comfortable throwing?
I mean, this was kind of the first year where I actually had a changeup, and it was honestly like, it was really weird because I've always been a breaking ball guy. Kind of always spun it pretty well. Right. So like my entire life I've done sliders, and I've always thought that was my preferred. But having a changeup this year kind of was really interesting. It really it was an eye opener pitch for me, honestly. I really liked throwing it. I mean, I feel like I could land it in the zone. I felt confident in it. I mean,
can you throw it in any count? Like, did you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, usually. Yeah. I mean, I think what was it? Lavastida and Amaditas were really good at pitch calling that, and I really liked that was the two catches where I threw to the most, at least, and they were great at pitch calling and calling the changeup. And sometimes I'd be sitting on the mound with my glove up, and I'd be like, I kind of want to throw this pitch right here, and I'd throw down the changeup, and I'd be like, okay, I kind of like that.
Is it a classic? Sweet. Three finger grip on the changeup?
Here, I think I have a ball.
He's got a ball right next to him. Zach,
you guys.
We gotta let's pull out a pitching ninja, a page from a pitching ninja playbook.
Here. So it's kind of like here. It looks like this. So the horseshoe right there. Grip. Yeah, and the
got a little circle change action going on.
I try not to let my index finger touch the ball, and I try to put a ton of pressure on my thumb, so it really gets me to like get that.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Can you show us your four seam grip?
Just normal four seam.
Yep. What about your curveball
Let's go
and
all
slider?
four. Why not?
Curveball. Been working on this one a little bit.
Okay. Gives you that really good snap, forces you to come down.
And
then
on sliders right here on the two seam.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
This is the first time on the podcast
Sweet.
after we've had that.
Yep. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. Everybody always has their unique. I love that about pitching. Everybody always has their unique take on where to position your hands on a pitch. Where do you sit on the laces? Where are you putting pressure on your fingers? How deep is the ball? Where are you trying to get your release point? So much that goes into pitching.
Yeah,
so thank you for sharing those with us. So what would you say? All right, so we'll talk a little more baseball, and then I'll ask you some non-baseball questions here in a minute. What do you think was your biggest learning point for this season?
Biggest learning point? That's a good question. That's
a lot of baseball.
That's a loaded question. I would say so. One of the main goals I had going into this year was to kind of like stay very even keel throughout, like in between starts. I think. I think in college sometimes when I have a really good start or a really bad start, it would be like a lot of extremes, and I think going into this year, I was like, that needs to change. I think I need to stop putting so much pressure on myself in between. I think you pretty much like a trust your training kind of thing, and then when you get out there, like compete, pretty much just try to win, try to beat the other guy every single time. And I think that was the one main thing that was kind of pretty eye opening to me, where it was like, wow, like I felt way better on a day-to-day basis, kind of way more of a stay in the present kind of thing.
When you found out you were
awesome.
you were getting called up to AA, was that like a cool moment for you? You were with your family, right?
Yeah, my parents were in my apartment and they were talking to Doug, and I was in the bathroom when DeCenzo called me, and he said, "Pack up your stuff. You're going to Akron." And I was like, "Wow, this is great timing."
Awesome.
Parents are already here.
Grandma's here. This is the perfect time for them to be here. I haven't been there since April.
And they got to watch your first start in Akron,
they watched my first start in Lake County. Watched my first start in Akron.
I love that.
Heck yeah, that's a long flight because your parents still live in Mission Vale,
California,
they live close
there. They live in Dana Point, so they've been.
That's a long flight to Cleveland. All right, so let's break from baseball a little bit. Let's talk about some things that you do. So we're obviously in the off season. So what are some things that you enjoy doing outside of baseball?
So I like obviously I feel like every guy now I like playing video games. Like watching sport.
Yep. What do you play?
Lately the new COD came out on was it Thursday or Friday or something like that. I've been playing that a little bit. What is the other one? What's it called? The new Overwatch came out. Some of my friends were like, "Oh, you gotta play this game. Like it's fun." And I was like, "I have no idea what this game is," and it is really fun. Those are kind of the two. Way better with friends. I cannot play video games with myself for a long time. Other than that, love watching football. I'm a big Dallas Cowboys guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Would not have paid you for being a Cowboys fan.
A lot of people say that, and they also really make fun of me for it. But
every fan base has its 100%.
But yeah, I like watching football. I like going to the beach. I live pretty close to the beach, so.
Yep, I was gonna say you're from California. I figured the beach would be in there somewhere.
Did you grow up a Dodgers fan, Tanner?
I did. Yeah, my dad's a big Dodgers fan.
Wow. Who was your favorite player growing up? A certain pitcher or?
It was a pitcher. Yeah, it was Greinke actually.
Wow. Ooh.
Boy, that should tell you how long he's been pitching, man. I just now realized. Yeah, he's been pitching for a long time.
What, like 04, 05?
Yep.
You got
it was
a
2005.
shot, Tanner, to go up against him. You still got a shot.
I hope so. That'd be sweet. I really like watching Bueller and Glasnow now. I think
Glasnow's fun. Glasnow's a lot of fun.
Glasnow's
this year is
insane.
Strider. That dude is crazy.
Oh, in Atlanta?
Yeah.
So I was at the wild card game versus the Rays where Glasnow went up against McKenzie.
He's gross.
He's filthy. Straight off of Tommy John surgery. Usually some guys off of the UCL surgery, they struggle maybe with a little bit of command. They struggle with velocity. Now, homeboy was up there on the mound pumping 97 straight up. Had only made two starts in the regular season before he made a playoff start for the Rays, and he's just on the mound slinging.
And it's just he's so tall, and he's just all these limbs just coming at you, and it is just rising heater, top of the zone. Try to hit it. I dare you.
You mentioned something interesting. So I actually live in Georgia, and by warrant, I'm a transplanted Braves fan as my second team. Spencer Strider, he was a lot of fun to watch, but he's not exactly what you'd think would pan out normally for a traditional starting pitcher profile. But he absolutely
has a weird
tore it up, and it sucked. Well, he throws primarily. He's primarily a two-pitch pitcher. He has more of a reliever profile. He's primarily fastball slider.
You know who reminds me of?
But he just has excellent command.
Has a wicked fastball slider. He doesn't strike out. He doesn't have the strikeouts. He doesn't go. Sometimes pitches for contact a lot. But that two-pitch fastball slider could be really nuts if it's like really good stuff.
So while we're talking about baseball players, this would be another good question. Is there anybody in the pros right now that you kind of model your approach or pitch models off of a little bit? Yeah, everybody has inspiration from somewhere.
I mean, those first two guys I said, Bueller and Glasnow, I think I've really tried. Like, I've watched them a lot, and I think that those two dudes have been, like, mentality-wise and pitch profile-wise, I mean, they're unreal. I mean, I was like being a Dodgers fan growing up. I mean, I didn't like Bueller was been with the Dodgers for a little bit, but I mean, he was always just electric when he would throw, and it is just overpowering stuff. It is like, go ahead, try to hit it, kind of stuff. Yeah.
He gets up on you.
That's kind of like where like the mentality and like the aggressiveness that I've kind of tried to replicate. Where it's like him and Bueller or him and Glasnow kind of have the same kind of thing. Where it's just like, here's my stuff. I dare you to hit it. Probably not.
Yep. All right, Chuck, it's all you real quick. I
so Tanner, what was it like? Tanner, I told this to a lot of people. I even told this to your dad. You had an incredible rise. I don't like doing player comps. I don't like comparing pitchers to other pitchers or players to other players. I never liked it. Your rise in the Guardians system is very, very similar to a pitcher right now. His name is Shane Bieber. Drafted in the 5th round. Wasn't really a high prospect right out of the draft. Wasn't really in these top 100 prospect lists. Right, highly regarded. You are now, but his rise has been incredible this year. My wife told me today, who are you having on the podcast today? And I told her the future ace of the Cleveland Guardians. That's what I said. What has it been like for you to have success in the pros? As in your getting your first taste of success after being drafted.
I mean, it's really cool. I mean, I think usually I play the show a lot when it first came out, and they have like these cards on there where they have like the future prospects, whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called. And you see all these guys on there. And in high A and double A, I remember I would see these guys across the field, and I'm like, I was playing, these guys are in the video game that I play. Like, what? like, what? Like, and you pitch against them, and like, say you have success, you don't have success. But regardless, it's just like, this is just like cool. Like,
I love that.
It's just cool. Like, especially when you have success, it's just fun to be like sweet. Like, it's kind of like a weight lifted a little bit, and you're just like, like great start, like that kind of stuff.
Once you know your stuff can play at the pro level,
it
does so young players especially, they don't figure it out right away. But
Yeah,
once you
no.
have that confidence that your stuff can play, especially in the pro
Oh
level,
yeah.
it does wonders for your self confidence. You just throw with conviction. You throw it does wonders for your confidence.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's just like dominoes. Like you have one good start, you have another good start, and you like once you just start chaining these good starts together, like and the confidence starts going up, and the training stays the same, the practice stays the same, and you just kind of can kind of trust when you go out there that you're gonna you can trust that you've done all that you can do throughout the entire week until up to the start, and then once you get that started, you just like I said, you just gotta trust.
Who was the toughest? Rather be a teammate in BP, or an opponent in the game. Who was your toughest at bat you faced this year? You think?
Oh, that's easy.
Ooh.
That's really easy, actually. You would think that'd be a hard question. It's Andy Rodriguez with the Pirates.
Oh, that guy's nuts.
Oh,
It
that's
is
no surprise.
It was one of those ABs where it was like frustrating. Like I don't think he got a hit off me, but it was like one of the more frustrating things where I would throw him all 4 of my pitches in the at bat, and he'd still be fouling it off, and I'm like, dude, oh my god, get out or get on base, like please. And it was just and that Altoona lineup at the end of the year was like absolutely ridiculous. But he was like, I thought he was by far, in a way, the best hitter I faced all year.
Is there anybody in the Guardians system that
the Pirates have been
is there anybody in the
for a
system
while.
that blew you away? Maybe like watching Jackenzie Noel hitting like a 470-foot home run, or
I was actually going to ask you that. I was going to ask you what it's like to watch John Kenzie hit baseballs into space.
He's got some ridiculous pop. Like it's crazy. Like he's hit some balls, especially at Lake County, because Lake County the ball absolutely flies. He's hit some balls there like onto the Chase Bank in left field. And it is like dude. And then you see him at Dodger Stadium do the same thing.
He was playing a game somewhere. Yeah, just in batting practice, he popped eyes on national media.
Oh yeah, he was in the Futures game.
That were at the Future Stars game, watching them take batting practice. Multiple reporters. I want to say the Washington Journal and a couple other guys noted that oh my goodness, this kid can hit the ball a really long way. He had a home run in a game this year. I can't remember where it was, but it looked like I can't remember who it was against, but the stadium in left field bordered.
Oh, that was at Erie. Yeah.
Yep. He hit a ball onto the roof of the arena across the street.
So he did it like three. He did it like 3 times
long way.
In like 3 days. Because when he did that, he hit. I think he hit 2. That was my first day in Akron, and he hit 2 on top of the ice rink, and I was like, the ice rink's like taller than Fenway. It feels like, I think. It is like, it was crazy.
So Tanner,
it's ridiculous,
as you know,
man.
Unfortunately, we're in the off season. I'm kind of, getting a little. I'm anxious when the Guardians don't play. That's they're a major part of my life. What is your off season program looking like this year? Are you heading out to Goodyear soon? What's your off season program looking like this right now?
I'll probably be in Goodyear around December, I think, for camp. Other than that, I'm not sure when else I'll be out there, but up until then, I'm in Dana Point, California.
What's that complex like? We had a Nate Furman on, who was drafted this year. He said that complex in Arizona is out of this world.
Oh yeah, it's sweet. It's cool. The housing that put us in is sweet. The complex is sweet. I mean, all the fields, the facilities, the weight room, the bullpens. I mean, from A to Z in that complex. I mean, they just do a great job.
Did you follow the Guardians this year, Tanner, after you were drafted by them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
especially because they're so young and they're so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Well, and the crazy thing is, it's like a lot of people forget, people are always wondering, it's like, what do we do in the off season to fix the minor holes that exist? I'm like, guys, if you thought the team was young now, it's only going to get younger, because your blue chip talent that is still developing and being nurtured and being worked on and crafted is even younger, yet by a significant margin. You're, correct me if I'm wrong, you're 23, right? You got Bo
That's
Naylor, who is
unbelievable.
younger than you are.
I
That
think
made his major league
all those guys are
debut
younger
this
than me.
year.
I mean, George is younger than me. Rocchio is. Espino is. Gavin is.
Yep.
Like, all those guys are younger than me.
I think what about Logan Allen? Is he older or younger?
But you're only 23. Yeah. That's the crazy
Is Logan
thing.
Allen older or younger?
I think he's older than me. I think he's older.
What about Tanner Burns?
I think Tanner Burns is older.
Okay, so we got a few older. That's
we're in the same.
Logan Allen.
Yeah,
Logan's a year older. He's 24.
I think me and Tanner were in the same class, but I think he's older than me.
But still, like, to the testament. So Cleveland this year, you guys heard us talk about it all year. Youngest major league average roster at 26. Younger major league team than most teams' AAA farm systems, and it's only going to get younger. So Tanner, let me ask you something. I don't like putting this pressure on you. This is purely hypothetical.
I already called him a future ace.
One thing I wanted to ask you is,
so it's okay.
well, so as you continue to progress in your development, how much does it excite you? I know it's probably not something in the forefront of your mind, but I'm sure in the back of your mind every now and then you get a chance to think, it's like, I may have a chance to contribute and help this team win. Cleveland debuted 17 rookies this year, and I have no doubt in my mind that they are not done with that. What does that feel like when you think about that?
I try not to. I really try not. It's I try not to think about it, because if you try to think that way and like that, like, I don't want to say like far in the future, but if you like think in the future like that and you think like, oh, I could be in the major league team, like, it kind of just really would take me out of the here and now, and I feel like it would really take me out of like the whole process that I like taking myself through, like the entire like each week that I'm like throwing. So I think I try not to think about it. I mean, obviously it does cross my mind sometimes, but I think that's one of the things where I really try to avoid thinking about. Like, I know this offseason when I came home, my dad was talking about that too, and I was just like, I'm not there yet. I don't want to talk about
it. I think it's cool that you said that, because we sat down with Richie Palacios on Thursday.
You gotta
and
play
he
where your
said
feet
pretty
are,
much
right?
about the same thing. He said, the best, be where your feet are. He said the best advice he ever got
100%.
was be where your feet are. And advice that was given to me in my life, similar.
Yep.
Grow
100%.
where you're planted.
I completely agree with that.
I absolutely admire and respect that, because you are on a fantastic trail, but there's still work to be done. Mentality, I think, is just what's going to keep pushing you up and over.
So one more. I'm sorry.
So let's go ahead, Chuck.
So I'm sorry. What is the fan interactions been like for you? Like, have you had, like, on Twitter, or there's nuts like me that that hit you up, or stuff like that? After starts, or what is it like? Like, Tanner, you're on a huge trajectory, man. Have you gotten any feedback from the Cleveland fan base at all?
What do you mean feedback?
Like,
just from what you see. So, like, I'm sure you've seen on Twitter people talking about you, and talking about how well you've done. You mentioned earlier that the Cleveland fan base, for the majority, had been very good to you. I think that's what he's getting at.
I mean, I've got nothing but positive things to say about the fans. I mean, they, like, whether it was like Lake County or Akron, I mean, all the people, whether it was like getting to know some fans in each place, or just all like the people that show up and watch me throw and show up and like support me and my teammates, I think they've just been great. I think I just think it's been, like I said, it's been great. They've been good. They've been good to me so far.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope that will continue. And guess what? We hit my time mark almost on the money. We're at about 45 minutes,
but Tanner,
which is right about where I wanted.
On behalf of me and Zach and at the corner, it was an honor to sit down with you, and that was fun too, going through all your picture mixes and stuff like that. I watched. I think every start you had this season, and you got a fan. You got two fans and us pulling and pushing for you every day, Tanner. So yeah,
I appreciate that so much.
yeah.
I mean,
Hey Tanner, I got one last question for you. So I asked your dad this in the podcast he did with us. So, as somebody who's recently been drafted and is going through development, if you could offer advice to any kids that are out there that are thinking about playing professional, they're starting to get to that point where they have to make that commitment to make it full time. What advice would you offer?
Richie took that. The be where your feet are.
No, you can echo that. That's perfectly fine.
I think
that's great advice.
I can be a little bit original. I would say, I mean, obviously, I think working hard is very generic, but I really think that not only training your body but your mind and kind of staying very diligent and consistent, I think is the best thing that anyone can ever do. I think it kind of branches off to be where your feet are. I think if you can, something we used to say at Fullerton is don't try to get 100% better in one day. Like literally all you need to do is get 1% better every single day. And that can come from anywhere, whether it is baseball, the mental side, weightlifting, conditioning, eating habits. Like it could be from any of those things, and that day could be a success. So I think that's one thing I would say was if you're getting better every single day and you're being where your feet are, I think it's gonna put you on a good path to where you want to be.
Awesome, Chuck. You got any closing thoughts?
One. I know we're kind of heading towards the end here. I hate it when I'm like, I don't want to. You always think of the questions you wanted to ask after the interview's over. So Tanner, what is your just real quick? What is your routine like between starts? Obviously, that's a big
That's a good one.
part of a pitcher's routine. What is it?
Yeah.
What is your routine like between starts usually?
I mean, between starts, so I'll go with the five man rotation that we did in Akron. I mean, I would say I would throw. Let's say I throw Friday.
Yeah.
I would throw so I'd wake up the next day, go to the field, do some very light tossing, do my running, more like long distance stuff. Get a lift in.
God bless you.
Get a lift in, and then go into the training room, do my training room stuff, and then I would throw my pen the next day. And we usually have running work every day, and the next day after that, we'd have Monday off, Tuesday. Sunday I'd throw my pen, and then Monday would have off. Tuesday would be 90 feet again. Wednesday would be kind of in the middle, and then I'd throw Thursday. That's kind of my whole thing.
Sweet. Are you a guy where routine is important to you?
Very much so. I think that
very much so.
I mean, there's so much unpredictable stuff that can happen in baseball and in life. I think if you can keep as much stuff constant as possible, I think the easier it's going to be on you. Whether it's
control what you can control.
It is. Baseball's hard. Baseball's hard enough by itself. Try not to make it harder than it has to be.
Yep. And take peace in the things that you do have control over. Even if they're little things like going on a run.
Thank you so much, Tanner.
Tanner, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
Sharing your brain with us.
Yes.
You are welcome here anytime. We're all going to be super excited as everybody goes into the winter. Best of luck to you in the off season.
Keep in touch, Tanner. We're going to have you on before your major league debut. Don't worry.
Thank you for having me, guys. This is actually really fun.
Yeah. Of course.